Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to Family and Finance. My name is Rose Joshua. Today, I'm going to talk about something that is very common, and I've seen it a lot in my practice. And it's not unique to any specific individual, it's common to the population. Okay. So, my title today is $1 million insurance for only $1. It sounds very interesting. And so the question is, have you ever seen an ad where they tell you, oh, you can, regardless of your age, you can get this amount of coverage for only $9.99, or this amount of coverage for only $10, or that amount of coverage, whatever you want, big money for nothing. And those ads kind of trigger a lot of questions. I'll tell you two stories, okay? Story number one, I have a client who um, came to me and said, the quotes that you gave me, they're too high because I saw this other company and they were offering me $1 million for just $15. And I'm like, okay, can you send me that information? And he did. And I said, have you actually sat with them to say, what exactly is happening here? And he said, no, I just saw the ad. Okay, now we're getting closer. So, question for you. Have you ever seen an ad that gave you so much money for so little that it was too good to be true? And so let's talk about it because indeed, most times it's too good to be true. So let's talk about it. All right. So today I'm going to start with by saying beware of misleading ads. There's so many things in our face every day, morning, noon, night. Everybody wants your money. All right. So you've got to be very, very careful. You're going to see a red flag when it's too good to be true, because life actually doesn't really work in the too good to be true zone. So be very, very careful about ads that are misleading. But here's the thing though, technically, those ads are not really, you wouldn't say that they are illegal. It's, companies are allowed to do whatever they want in terms of advertisement, but it's up to you to really understand what they're doing. So I'm going to tell you another story. So I've been a realtor in the real estate world for almost 20 years. And in my 20 years, there's this one particular one that stands out. So I'm driving around the neighborhood and I'm just looking at billboards as I go. And I saw this ad that says apartments from $130,000. And so I kind of did a retake. I stopped, I reversed, and I looked at it, 130K. And I'm going, okay. So I stopped and I parked at the sales center. And I went in and there was lots of people there, lots of, people love sales. They love to hear that, you come get everything for nothing, right? So lots of people there. And then I sat with I was asking the sales lady and I said, so which apartment, which floor plan is 130K? And she's like, well, those ones are all finished. I'm like, okay. So what do you have available right now? She said, oh yeah, we have this one for 299, the other one for 298, the other one for 275. And I'm like, so which ones were? So the ones that were finished that are for 130, where are they? And she's like, well, technically we started them at 130, but we ended up not selling them for 130. And I looked her in the face and I said, so what was the purpose of the ad? You just put the ad there, but these 130K units actually do not exist. And here's what she responded to me. She retorted right in my eyeballs. She said, well, you came in here to talk to me. That's what the ads are for. The ads are to bring you in here. Now that you're in here, let's look at what's available and let's look at the real prices. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the ads are for, brothers and sisters. When you see an ad that says, oh, come get $1 million for $1, $1 million for $10, that's really for you to come in and talk to them. And then when you now talk to them, they will now tell you what is it that applies for your specific case. So you've got to understand that the ad is just to get your foot in the door, get you in the door to come ask them questions. And most likely by the time you sit with them, then the story changes. So like I was talking about my clients, when I insisted, I said, go and book an appointment with those guys and go and tell them to give you a quote for you, your age, your gender, your this, your that, all of that. By the time he came back, he was over $150. And I'm like, okay. And it was for a T10. And I'm like, okay. So now you understand what they mean by $1 million for nothing. So we have to be very careful, brothers and sisters. All right. So the ads are just to get you in the door. And you need to ask yourself, don't go jump at your agent and say, oh, you guys sold me something that's too expensive. The other guys over there, they're selling it for $0, right? So you got to ask questions and you got to be very specific to say, how much is it based on my personal data? You got to understand specifically for yourself and for what you want, how much that particular ad company is going to quote for you. So we've, again, in the world of insurance, we have to be careful when somebody sells us cheap insurance. When, I was talking to somebody the other day. He's like, oh, I got $500,000 for $30 a month. Oh, and it's permanent. I'm like, permanent insurance? $500,000? $30 a month? No, no, no. It is not. And he's like, yeah, it is. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna argue with you. I won't even argue with you. So be very careful when somebody sells you cheap insurance. Okay, because in the insurance world, there are actually things called lemons. Lemons are not only in the world of vehicles. Okay, you got to understand that lemons are not only in the world of cars. Sometimes when you go buy a car, they tell you, oh, this car, I'll sell it to you for $10,000 less. And, you get it for cheap. And then down the road, you notice that what you have is a lemon. And there are lemons in the real estate world too. I have seen times when a seller says, okay, I'm going to give you $20,000 of this house. It has double garage. I'm going to sell it to you for $200,000. It's like, it's too good to be true, because by the time you do an inspection, you notice there's mold in the house and there's skeletons in the cupboard. So you got to be very careful when somebody offers you cheap stuff. Why? Because cheap things are not cheap. I'm going to say it again. Cheap things are not cheap. The fact that something is cheap does not mean it's cheap, because why? In the long run, it will cost you more money. In the long run, you're going to spend way more than you spent originally. In the long run, you're going to spend way more than if you had done your job properly to get a proper product. So always get a second opinion, guys. In the world of medicine, sometimes when a doctor tells you you're diagnosed with cancer, we run to the next doctor to get a second opinion. Why? Because it's important. So when it comes to insurance, we should also get a second opinion. The fact that your cousin or your sister, your brother or family member of your hockey friend sold you something does not mean that you should take a hook, line, and sinker. You need to get a second opinion, guys. Get a second opinion, because there's all kinds of things out there. All right. So if you have permanent policy, check the sensitivity analysis page of your policy. Or if you have a term policy, check the renewal page of your policy. Actually read your policy, guys. There's a lot of people who do not read their policy, okay? So they don't know what they have. Actually read it. If we read our policies, we would have fewer cases where it actually explodes in our face. So check if you have permanent policy, check the sensitivity analysis page. Find out whether your policy is going to explode in your face. Okay? I have seen many policies where if it's not corrected, the policies will explode in the owner's face. I have seen them again and again and again. And unfortunately, many clients don't even understand what they have. So they just, sign here. You sign and you think you got something, but what you have is a ticking bomb, ticking volcano, ready to one day explode. So you need to take a good look at your policy and ask yourself, in my old age, am I actually still going to have a policy, or would it have exploded in my face? And that's when you need it the most. All right? So take a good look at your policy. Don't be fooled by ads. In conclusion, I'm going to say don't be fooled by ads. Let's be smart. Let's be wise. And let's again remember that cheap things are not cheap. It pays to actually invest properly in your coverage. Avoid penny wise, pound foolish. So here's my invitation to you. Connect with me for second opinion. Whatever you have, if it's a term, connect with me. Let's take a look at it together. If it's permanent, connect with me. Let's see whether you actually have a lifetime policy or one that will explode down the road when you actually need it the most. On my honor as me, if you have a policy that's good, we will say, good job, keep it up, and be on your way. But if your policy is a ticking bomb, then you and I can sit down and actually get you proper coverage. All right. So the intention here is not to take anything away from you that is right, that is actually good. The intention is to protect you from ticking bombs in the form of insurance policies that will explode if you live long enough. All right. So again, connect with me for a second opinion. If you're good to go, you're good to go. If you're not good to go, then we know what to do. All right. Again, thank you so much. My name is Rose Joshua. And be very, very cautious about those ads that promise you everything for nothing. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a good rest of the day. God bless you.